Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Amarilla, and today I will be presenting the results of our research, important factors when approaching virtual education. The educational changes that took place during 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic affected the entire educational community. So this is part of our problem. Due to this problem, this study presents different factors such as training in the use of ICT and years of teaching that affect the identification of problems related to virtual teaching. The objectives of our study are that we seek to showcase different factors to consider when approaching virtual learning from a teacher's perspective. And for this particular study, we consider English language teachers as a population to be studied. Concerning the methods, we used a mixed methodology approach with semi-structured questionnaires that were administered through social networks, as well as through WhatsApp and emails. 184 responses were recorded from English teachers from all educational levels in public and private schools, colleges, and language institutes. A NOVA analysis of variance and multivariate analysis and exploratory factor analysis were used with the use of Excel and IBM SPSS softwares. Some of the results are part of this presentation. For example, the table shows that on average, the highest number of problems is related to the bachelor's degree level, and the lowest number of problems is related to the doctorate degree level. This means that the highest number of problems are related to teachers' bachelor's degree, in the sense that people with a bachelor's degree report the highest number of problems. Similarly, people with a doctorate degree report the lowest number of problems. However, if we take a look at years or hours of training, we find the following. Teachers with 10 or less hours of training show significantly higher average frequency of problems encountered during the development of virtual classes compared to those who had more than 10 hours of training. It's good to remind you that we are talking about training received before and during the pandemic. Of the teachers who had less than 10 hours of training, the problems were analyzed by years of teaching experience, where differences in two groups can be seen. For example, teachers with 0 to 5 years, or at the beginning of their career, in 21 or more years, peak of their career, who report the least number of problems identified during the development of the pandemic. This is one group. And the second group are teachers with 6 to 20 years of experience, that is the full development of their career, report the highest average number of problems in the development of virtual classes. Moreover, from this report, we hypothesized that at the beginning of a teaching career, it might be more complicated to identify the problems in the development of the classes, as opposed to teachers with more experience, who might already take problems into account and solve them beforehand. So we recommend to follow a line of research in this aspect. Moreover, the KMO and Berlet analysis identify 3 factors that together explain approximately 63% of the total variability of a set of variables analyzed. And we have summarized the factors as follows. The first factor focuses on the dimension of continuous ICT training with institutional support, and we call this factor continuous ICT training. This factor involves questions such as, have you received training in the use of ICT once quarantine has been declared? Have you received training in the use of ICT in education prior to quarantine? And lastly, the institutional support you have received during this time to prepare for virtual classes has been adequate. Similarly, the second factor presents a dimension that refers to the academic training of teachers and the years of experience. We name this factor teaching experience, and it involves maximum educational level attained and years of teaching. Lastly, the third factor takes into account the degree of appropriation of ICTs mentioned by the teachers and the type of training received for distance education. This factor can be named degree of appropriation of technology, and it involves level of competence in relation to computer technologies after quarantine and type of training received. In conclusion, the results of the study shed some light on the importance of teacher experience and teacher training for the identification of problems in the classroom, as well as the use and appropriation of technology. This information could help guide policies to improve teacher training and approaches in the implementation of ICT tools in the English language classroom. And with this, I'd like to thank you all for your attention, and thank you for the organizers of the Congreso Paraguayo de Lingüística Aplicada for holding this event.